Ah, yes, I do love finding a nice bit of new music to listen to right before the end of the year and just in time for Christmas. Whilst this album is a debut, it doesn't come across as messy or amateur. In fact, it comes across well put together and pretty strong. Hello, you are with me, Icy Snaps, and today we are reviewing Dove Ellis and his debut album, Blizzard. For a Blizzard, it's awfully calm, but there are moments where things start to look pretty cloudy. In a good way. Dove Ellis has been around as one of those artists opening for the likes of Geese and so on. A bit of a if you know, you know type artist. I mean, I didn't know. I'm always out of the loop, so. Musically, you are in for a treat, getting some folk, rock, chamber, ambience, a bit of experimental here and there. I'm thinking Jeff Buckley, Bon Iver, Radiohead. Somewhere in between all these influences lies Dove Ellis. If I'm being completely honest, some moments in the album feel a little open or things get lost in the mix, but that's kind of what gives this album its character, feeling a bit homemade, like we're hearing everything being recorded around a mic in a single room. The writing feels vague but deliberate in an arty way. You get this emotional shape without being spoon-fed the narrative. Themes of love, longing, clarity. Rather than those raspy voices you may hear, we're treated to Ellis's soft but full vocals, beautifully flowing into these high notes, really giving life to the lyrics and narrative. Listen to the opening track, Little Left Hope, having these small build-ups to this emotional breakthrough. Or the track Heaven Has No Wings, where Ellis really pushes his vocals into these angelic high ends. And not to mention the last track, which I will get to in a bit. It doesn't really matter what's happening in the background because his vocals really take center stage and they're kind of what everything's focused around. That's not to say that the instrumentation is lacking. Whilst yes, sometimes okay, they can feel slightly thin, there are moments where they become really expressive and full. Take the song Jaundice, for example. Suddenly you're hit with a curveball. It's upbeat, it's fast tempoed, it's rhythmic, something that you could get up and dance to. Especially loving those panned vocals and that really sharp banjo that comes in. At least I think it's a banjo, correct me if I'm wrong. Coming a bit back to the beginning of the album with the song Love Is, which is a bit of a standout track for me. It has this lovely contrast between slow and upbeat, and this beautiful moment in the middle where things start to take a bit of a turn and become ambient with those lovely strings and this guitar. And then there's little glimpses of what sounds like a synth. I'm not exactly sure what's making those noises, but it's really nice and atmospheric. Lyrics expressing about how love can't cure everything and sometimes is the cause of. As well as these upbeat numbers, the album has a lot of softer ones too. When You Tie Your Hair Up, overall it's quite soft, but it really sings with these heavier moments. You have this real crunch coming in, breaking up that folky feeling. Or the track It Is a Blizzard, running a bit shorter than most, but those minutes fly by with this melancholic, almost nostalgic sound. Again, the vocals so soothing. And we get a nice surprise brass halfway through alongside this lovely piano. It really adds this extra layer that I think the track needed. The quieter tracks continue with Feather, Crash, feeling much sadder than the others and having this real frustration come across in the vocals and the instrumentation. It's this heavy strumming on these really soft instruments that really adds to this narrative of like a calm frustration. And then we have this percussion coming in, but rather sounding like some nervous tapping in the background. It comes in feeling heavier and more full, but the song is then led out with these beautiful vocal harmonies alongside this harmonica. A really, really, really nice song. I will say the softer tracks do blend together if you're not paying attention, but I don't think this is the type of album you'll be putting on in the background, so hopefully this won't be an issue. Coming on to the last few tracks, we have the Sandals leading us in with this really sweet shaker. Everything slowly building up with this sharp guitar cutting through quite beautifully alongside these amazing vocals, feeling like a blizzard of emotion. Excuse the pun. And then I'm suddenly thrown off in the last part of this track. You have these quick passing sounds sounding a bit like lasers or something alongside lots of scraping and weird ambient noises, feeling a little creepy but in a good way. I really love this moment, keeping everything feeling a little bit fresh. Finally, onto the last track. I say finally, it's kind of sad. Other than these amazing vocals, it's alongside a bit of a lonely guitar. Whilst it isn't the most memorable, vocally it's absolutely brilliant, really showcasing that range, and those high notes hit so sweet, playing you out so nicely. God damn. So yeah, Blizzard might not be reinventing folk or anything. I mean, it doesn't really need to. It has moments where it doesn't feel overly polished, but I think that's what makes this album really stand out. It's not a messy album, it's messy in the way that emotions are messy. Does that make sense? It's delicate and full of warmth, and it just cuts through all that frost if we're keeping on theme. The vocals are consistently gorgeous. You know, when the mix gets a little thin or slightly muddy, the vocals just carry the performance forward, almost making you forget about those inconsistencies. Even so, the instrumentation keeps that personality. The writing is vague, but it's not empty. It's the kind of debut that's not perfect, but it's coming across strong and confident, and honestly, I can't wait to see what Ellis does next. So with all that, I'd probably give this album a 7.5 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you thought down below. I love to hear what you guys think. I should be having some more videos out soon, especially after the holidays. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully catch you on the next one.